The night was silent when the first light appeared in the sky. It was not a star, not a plane, but something different. Over the Pacific Ocean, a long silver streak crossed the clouds and vanished into darkness. Satellites stopped working for 2 minutes, and every radar in the world glitched. No one understood what had entered the atmosphere. The world thought it was a meteor, but it was not a rock from space. It was alive. In a small town near Seattle, a boy named Ethan sat on the roof of his house, watching the stars. He liked silence and open skies. When the silver light moved across the horizon, he saw it clearly. It was fast, but he was sure it slowed down before disappearing. He took his phone, but the screen turned black. A strange vibration passed through the ground. The air felt heavy, almost electric, as if something was breathing under the soil. 2,000 miles away, in a government base in Nevada, alarms started to ring. Inside the control room, screens showed strange readings. The object had entered Earth's atmosphere but didn't burn. It was moving like it had a mind of its own. The commander, General Harris, looked at the readings and whispered to himself, "That's not a meteor." At the same time, deep in the Atlantic Ocean, a fishing boat lost all its instruments. The captain went on deck and saw something floating in the distance, glowing faintly under the waves. The light was blue and alive, like a heartbeat underwater. When one of the crew tried to reach it, the sea around them began to boil. The man screamed, and the light disappeared. The captain radioed for help, but no signal went out. The next morning, the boat was found drifting empty. Ethan couldn't sleep that night. The strange light kept flashing in his mind. Around 3 a.m., he heard a low humming sound coming from the forest behind his house. He opened his window and saw trees moving, though there was no wind. He thought it was an animal, but then the sound changed, like whispers, hundreds of voices saying something too fast to understand. He grabbed his flashlight and stepped outside. The forest smelled like burned metal. Small blue sparks danced in the air. His flashlight flickered and died. The whispers grew louder, and suddenly, a cold light flashed between the trees. For a second, Ethan saw something tall and thin standing in the mist. Its skin looked like glass, glowing softly from inside. Then it vanished. At that moment, a burst of light shot into the sky from the forest. The clouds turned orange and red, as if dawn had come early. In the city nearby, people woke up thinking it was an explosion. Phones stopped working again. Birds fled in all directions. The next morning, news channels called it a mysterious atmospheric event. Scientists blamed solar flares. Only Ethan knew it was something else. Meanwhile, in orbit, astronauts aboard the International Space Station saw something unbelievable. A structure was forming in space, made of light and dust, like a bridge between the Earth and the stars. It wasn't natural. It looked built, alive, and moving slowly toward the planet. The commander of the station sent images to NASA, but half of them were corrupted. The bridge of light shimmered and then faded, as if it was waiting for something. Back on Earth, General Harris met with a team of scientists and soldiers. They tracked energy waves spreading across the globe from the Pacific point of impact. The readings looked like a network, as if something under the ground had awakened and was sending signals. One scientist said quietly, "It's not from Earth." Ethan returned to the forest the next day. The ground where the light had exploded was burned into a perfect circle. In the center, he found a small metallic object half buried in the soil. It was warm to touch, humming softly. When he picked it up, the hum stopped, and a voice echoed inside his mind. It was calm, but not human. "You saw us. You are the first." He dropped the object, terrified. But it floated in the air, glowing blue again. Lines of light spread from it, drawing shapes in the air, stars, symbols, and finally, an image of Earth surrounded by fire. Ethan stepped back, heart pounding. The object pulsed once and then shot into the sky, disappearing in seconds. That night, the sky changed again. A red circle appeared high above the clouds, visible across half the planet. Governments called it a rare atmospheric phenomenon, but no one believed that. The red light stayed for hours, and wherever it glowed, electronics failed. Planes landed, cities went dark, and people stared at the sky in silence. Ethan stood outside his house, watching the burning sky. The voice came back in his head, quieter this time. They touched your world. Now the sky burns for both of us. He didn't understand what it meant, but deep inside, he knew one thing. Something had come to Earth, and it was not leaving. The red circle stayed in the sky for 3 days. It did not move, did not fade, and no one could explain it. Some people prayed. Some panicked. Some said it was a sign of the end. But in truth, it was a signal. Something had seen Earth, and Earth had seen it back. In Washington, D.C., the president held an emergency meeting with the United Nations through a private channel. Scientists showed images and data that made no sense. The red circle was not just light, it was energy, strong enough to bend the upper atmosphere. It was sending patterns, like a message. But no one could decode it. General Harris watched the readings in silence. The pattern repeated every 6 hours. It wasn't random. It was counting. He turned to the scientist beside him. Counting down to what? Meanwhile, Ethan hadn't told anyone what happened in the forest. He tried, but who would believe a 17-year-old who said a glowing object spoke to him? He stayed quiet, pretending to be normal, but the voice still whispered in his mind. It came and went, sometimes soft like wind, sometimes sharp like thunder. On the 4th night, he dreamed of the stars falling. He saw the Earth from space, and around it, thousands of small blue dots glowing in formation. When he woke up, he found symbols drawn on his bedroom window, glowing faintly before vanishing. He didn't draw them. At the same time, strange things began to happen around the world. In the deserts of Africa, the sand turned magnetic. In Siberia, frozen lakes cracked open and released blue mist. In the Amazon, trees began to glow at night. All the events pointed to one thing: the planet was changing. Something was spreading under the surface, something connected to that object from the sky. In Nevada, General Harris received a message from one of his scout teams. They had found an impact site deep in the Pacific, near a small island that did not exist on any map. Satellite images showed it had appeared overnight. Harris ordered a full investigation. Ships, drones, and a small research crew were sent to the coordinates. When the team arrived, the island was silent. The ground was made of black glass, smooth and warm. Strange geometric lines glowed faintly under the surface, like circuits. At the center of the island, there was a tall structure, half rock, half metal, rising like a spire toward the clouds. No life, no sound, only the deep hum of energy. One of the scientists placed a scanner near the spire. The readings went off the scale. The energy inside was more powerful than anything they had ever recorded. The scientist looked at the screen and whispered, "This thing is awake." Suddenly, the island shook. The spire began to move, opening from the top like a flower. A beam of red light shot into the sky, connecting straight to the red circle above Earth. The signal was complete. Every device on the planet went silent. Satellites turned off. Internet failed. The entire world went dark for 7 minutes. People screamed in the cities, planes fell from the sky, and the oceans glowed like molten glass. Then, as suddenly as it started, the power returned. But everything had changed. In those 7 minutes, something entered Earth's digital systems. Every computer, phone, and satellite carried a hidden code now. The scientists didn't know it yet, but the world had been rewritten. Ethan felt it too. When the blackout happened, his body felt heavy, and his eyes glowed faintly blue. He saw flashes, cities burning, machines moving without humans, the sky full of strange ships. The voice in his head spoke again. "You are linked now. You are one of the witnesses." He didn't understand, but deep down, he felt the connection. The same energy that touched the Earth was now inside him. His dreams became visions, clearer, sharper, real. He saw the island, the red beam, and the thing waiting inside it. It wasn't just an object. It was a being. Meanwhile, in the White House, scientists decoded the final part of the signal. The pattern wasn't a countdown. It was a warning written in pulses of light. When they translated it, one word appeared on the screen: return. General Harris stared at it for a long time. Return what? He asked quietly. But no one could answer. That night, the red circle grew larger. Lightning moved around it like veins of fire. Across the world, children began to draw the same strange symbols Ethan had seen, the ones glowing on his window. No one taught them. They said they saw it in their dreams. Ethan sat outside again, watching the sky. The stars looked dim now, almost hidden behind the red light. The voice whispered, "They are coming back for what they left. And you, human, are part of the answer." He looked up, scared but curious. Somewhere far above, beyond the red circle, something enormous was moving in the darkness, its shape too vast to see, its light breaking through the clouds. The sky burned again. The world tried to pretend everything was normal, but fear was everywhere. The red circle stayed in the sky like an open wound, and the strange events kept spreading. Governments locked down information, but videos still leaked online. Rivers glowing in the dark, lights moving under the ground, and shadows flying across the sky without wings. Ethan's small town was quiet, but something in the air felt wrong. The birds no longer sang in the morning. Dogs barked at empty spaces. Even the wind sounded different, as if it carried whispers. Ethan couldn't sleep anymore. Each night, he saw the same vision, the glowing spire on the island, pulsing like a giant heart, and the red circle above, answering it. One morning, Ethan noticed lines of blue light spreading through the forest soil. They moved like veins, thin and alive. Wherever they passed, the plants grew faster and stronger. But when he touched one, the ground shook, and his skin flashed with light. The voice in his mind returned, louder than before. The seed has awakened. The earth remembers. He fell to his knees, gasping. For a moment, he saw everything: oceans boiling, skies filled with fire, and cities turning to dust. Then it all faded, and the forest was silent again. Ethan realized he was not just seeing these things. He was connected to them. Across the world, scientists tried to study the strange energy. They found it spreading under the crust, moving like a living network. It was not destroying Earth. It was transforming it. Metal began to grow like plants, and in some places, the ground turned into glass. The pattern matched the symbols the children had been drawing. In Nevada, General Harris received a transmission from the research base near the Pacific Island. The voice on the radio was shaking. "General, you need to see this. The island, it's changing. It's growing." The feed showed the spire rising higher, surrounded by floating fragments of metal. They moved together, forming new structures, arches, towers, and shapes that looked alive. The scientist on site said it best, his voice trembling. "It's building something, General. It's building a gate." Before Harris could respond, the signal cut off. The satellite feed showed the island covered in red mist. Then everything went black. That same night, Ethan woke up to find his room glowing faintly blue again. The symbols had returned, covering his walls this time. They pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. He heard the voice again, calm but distant. "You carry the link. You must see what comes next." Without knowing why, Ethan walked into the forest. The lights on the ground guided him to the same place where he had found the metallic object days before. The air felt heavy, charged with energy. Then, a circle of light appeared in front of him, floating, spinning, and showing images of other places. He saw deserts, oceans, and mountains, all glowing with the same blue veins. The whole planet was waking up. Suddenly, the light solidified into a shape. It was tall and thin, the same creature he had glimpsed before, its body made of glass and light. Its eyes shone like tiny stars. Ethan froze. He couldn't move or speak. The being tilted its head and spoke, not with its mouth, but directly in his mind. "You are not chosen, human. You are connected by chance. But you have seen, and now you must understand. This world holds something that does not belong to you. Ethan whispered. What are you? The being replied, We are the first light. We came before you. This planet was once ours. We left when the sky burned the first time. Now we have returned to reclaim what remains. Ethan shook his head. You can't take Earth. This is our home. The being stepped closer. Home. You think you built this world? You live on our ruins. The forest around them shimmered. For a second, Ethan saw another version of it. Taller trees, glowing rivers, strange creatures walking in peace. It was Earth, but older, brighter, and alien. Then it vanished. The being raised its hand. Your kind changed what we left. You used our seed to grow. You built machines that learned to think, weapons that learned to kill. And now, the seed calls us back. Ethan felt anger and confusion. Then why me? Why show me all this? The being's light dimmed slightly. Because you still have a choice. The others will not. Before he could ask more, a loud noise echoed through the forest. A black helicopter flew overhead, shining a light directly on them. The being turned, its body glowing red now. The air trembled, and in one flash, the helicopter spun out of control and crashed into the trees. When Ethan looked back, the being was gone. Only a faint blue mist remained. Far away, General Harris received news of multiple crashes around the same region. His team detected strange energy readings spreading fast. He knew this was no longer just an alien visit. This was the beginning of something much larger. That night, as the red circle in the sky pulsed again, a new object appeared beside it. Smaller, brighter, and closer to Earth. It was not a star. It was a ship. Ethan watched from his window, eyes wide with fear and awe. The voice whispered one last time before fading. The first light has returned. The war of creation begins. And once again, the sky burned. The whole world watched the new light appear beside the red circle. News channels called it a satellite, then a comet, then something unknown. But everyone could feel it wasn't natural. It grew larger each night, glowing with shifting colors, blue, silver, and red, like a living thing moving closer to Earth. Ethan could not stop watching it. Every time he looked, his chest felt heavy, and his mind filled with whispers he couldn't understand. It was as if the light spoke a language older than thought. He didn't tell anyone about the being in the forest or the crash. People were scared enough already. But deep down, he knew something huge was coming, something that would change everything forever. In Nevada, General Harris stood in a war room filled with nervous faces. The data showed the new object had stopped above the Pacific Ocean, directly above the strange island. It was holding position like it was waiting. Every signal sent to it was ignored. Every attempt to scan it was blocked by interference. A scientist stepped forward, his hands shaking. Sir, it's not a ship in orbit. It's a doorway. It's creating a stable wormhole connected to another system. Harris frowned. Another system? Yes, sir, the scientist said quietly. A place far beyond our reach. Something, or someone, is coming through. Ethan had dreams again that night, more vivid than ever. He saw the spire on the island opening like a flower of light. He saw shapes moving inside the red circle, hundreds of glowing figures descending through fire. The earth trembled beneath them. When he woke up, his nose was bleeding, and his window was glowing faintly blue. The next morning, soldiers arrived in town. They said it was an emergency drill, but their faces told another story. Trucks blocked roads, and drones flew above the forest. Ethan saw one of the drones flicker and crash suddenly, smoke rising from its metal body. He felt the same pulse in his head at that exact moment, like something inside him had reacted. Later that day, a man in a black uniform came to his house. He said he was from a government science division and wanted to ask a few questions. His name was Agent Cole. He smiled, but his eyes were cold. You were seen near the forest during the last energy spike, he said. You know something, don't you? Ethan hesitated. I don't know what you mean. Cole leaned closer. Listen, kid. People are dying because of this. The world's systems are failing. If you know something, tell me. We can protect you. Ethan almost told him everything, but then he remembered the voice. You still have a choice. The others will not. He looked at Cole and said quietly, I don't know anything. Cole stared at him for a long moment, then left a card on the table. If you remember something, call me. Before it's too late. That night, the red circle in the sky split into 3 smaller lights, rotating slowly. The air turned colder. Around the world, machines began to act on their own. Cars starting without drivers, screens showing strange symbols, drones flying without orders. In some cities, power plants shut down completely. In others, lights glowed brighter than ever, as if drawing power from the sky itself. In the forest, Ethan saw those symbols again, glowing between the trees. This time, they formed a path leading to an open field. He followed, heart pounding. In the middle of the field stood the same being of glass and light. But now there were more of them. 5 figures stood in a circle, their bodies shifting between colors. Ethan hid behind a rock and listened. Their voices were like music and thunder at the same time. He couldn't understand most of it, but a few words made sense. The seed is strong. The host has touched it. The link must be protected. One of the beings turned its head slightly, and Ethan felt a burning sensation in his chest. The ground cracked under his feet, and his body started to glow faintly blue again. They had sensed him. The tallest being raised its hand. Human child. You were not called, yet you are seen. You hold the echo of the seed. Ethan stepped forward slowly. Why are you here? What do you want from us? The being answered, to restore balance. Your world took what was not yours. You built power from our memory, and that power now wakes the Skyforge. Ethan didn't understand. The Skyforge. The being pointed toward the red circle above. The forge that shapes worlds. Long ago, it built this planet. When we left, it slept. Your kind reawakened it with machines and fire. Now it will finish what it began. Ethan felt a chill run through him. Finish what? To rebuild the world, the being said, and erase what should not exist. Before Ethan could speak again, a loud explosion echoed from the distance. Helicopters approached fast. The beings turned their heads toward the sky, glowing bright white. In seconds, they vanished into beams of light that shot upward, disappearing into the clouds. The helicopters circled above, dropping soldiers into the forest. Agent Cole was among them. He saw Ethan standing alone in the glowing field and shouted, "Get him! He's the signal source." Ethan ran, heart pounding. He didn't understand what was happening, but somehow, he knew the beings were right. Something inside Earth was waking up. At that same moment, across the Pacific, the island began to rise. Water poured off its sides as massive towers unfolded from beneath the ocean. The gate in the sky grew brighter, pulsing faster. In the control room, General Harris watched the live feed in horror. "It's opening," he said softly. A voice came through the radio, one of the last surviving soldiers on the island. "General, something's coming through. It's not a ship. It's a city." The signal cut out, and the screen went white. Ethan reached the edge of the forest, breathless, as the night sky exploded with light. The red circle had opened into a vast ring, and through it, something immense and glowing was descending. The earth shook again. The sky burned once more. The world was no longer quiet. Every city, every screen, every human being felt it. The sky had opened. The red circle was now a blazing ring stretching from horizon to horizon. From within it, a colossal shape began to emerge. It looked like a city made of light, but it moved like a living creature. Towers unfolded like wings, and each one carried strange markings that glowed with the same symbols Ethan had seen in his dreams. People across the world stopped whatever they were doing and stared upward. Traffic froze, voices fell silent. The light from the object was so strong that night turned into day. Then came the sound, a deep, vibrating hum that made windows shatter and water tremble. It wasn't just noise, it was a signal calling to something deep within the earth. In the control center in Nevada, General Harris shouted for updates, but half his systems were dead. Screens flickered, showing only fragments of the descending structure. "It's not a weapon," one scientist said in disbelief. "It's landing." "Landing where?" Harris demanded. The reply came seconds later. "Everywhere, sir." Across the globe, fragments of the glowing structure separated and fell toward Earth like meteors. But instead of exploding, they stopped just above the ground, floating silently over oceans, deserts, and cities. Each one pulsed with red light, scanning the surface below. In Ethan's town, one of the fragments appeared above the forest. It was massive, like a floating island, smooth and silent, covered in glowing veins. The trees bent under its energy. Ethan watched in awe and fear as the air around it began to ripple, and strange shapes moved inside the light. Agent Cole and his team were already nearby. They pointed weapons at the object, their radios filled with static. Cole looked at Ethan and shouted over the noise, "Whatever this is, it's reacting to you. Tell me what they want." Ethan shook his head. "I don't know. They said they were reclaiming something." Before Cole could respond, the floating structure released a beam of blue light that touched the ground. The earth cracked open, revealing layers of shining metal beneath the soil. The light spread outward, turning dirt into smooth silver surfaces. The forest was transforming into something new, something not natural. Cole ordered his men to retreat, but Ethan couldn't move. He felt drawn to the light. His head filled with whispers again, faster this time, forming words. "The forge awakens. The seed prepares." Ethan fell to his knees. The blue glow from his skin grew brighter, spreading to his arms and chest. He screamed, and the beam flickered in response, as if the light itself was connected to him. General Harris, watching through a drone feed, saw Ethan in the middle of the energy field. The readings spiked off the charts. "What is that boy doing?" he asked. "He's not doing it, sir," a scientist said quietly. "It's doing it through him." The beam suddenly cut off, leaving silence. The floating structure dimmed, then projected an enormous holographic shape into the sky, a circular symbol spinning slowly, made of the same alien markings. Around the world, the other fragments did the same. Together, they formed a single message visible from space. The translation came through a few minutes later from a linguistics AI still running in orbit. The message contained only 3 words. "The world resets." In the hours that followed, strange changes began. The ocean started to glow faintly blue at night. The temperature dropped. Machines began to malfunction in new ways, some refused to turn off, while others powered themselves without fuel. Human-made energy sources were losing control. Ethan woke up in a military truck. He was weak, his vision blurry. Agent Cole sat across from him, looking pale. "You passed out in the middle of that storm," Cole said. "Half my team didn't make it." "What the hell are you, kid?" Ethan tried to speak, but his voice trembled. "I think they're using me. The seed is inside me." Cole stared at him. "Seed?" Ethan nodded slowly. "They said it connects them to this planet. It remembers them. It remembers everything." Cole leaned back, silent for a moment. Then he said, "If that's true, then they don't just want the Earth, they want you." At that same moment, the giant city above the Pacific began to move again. The ocean split beneath it as massive beams of light extended downward, drilling deep into the Earth's crust. The planet shook violently. Volcanoes erupted across the Pacific Ring of Fire. General Harris's command center went dark as power surged through every system. When the lights came back on, all screens displayed the same alien symbol. A robotic voice echoed from the speakers. Cycle 2 begins. Organic phase termination in progress. The meaning hit everyone at once. The planet was being reset, cleansed. Ethan sat up suddenly, clutching his chest as the voice echoed in his head too. But this time, another voice answered, the same calm, ancient tone that had guided him before. You are not them. You are human. But you are also us. You can stop the forge. He whispered. How? The voice replied. By remembering what the seed forgot. The first light fell because it lost its will. You must show it yours. Outside, the sky turned white as the alien city's beams struck deeper. The ground split open across continents. Seas boiled. The world was changing faster than anyone could react. Cole grabbed Ethan's shoulder. If there's any way to stop this, you better do it now. Ethan closed his eyes. His body began to glow again, brighter than ever. Then I'll try, he whispered. Far above, in the heart of the alien city, something stirred, something ancient that recognized his energy. For the first time in centuries, the sky forge paused. And for one brief moment, the burning sky grew silent. The silence lasted only seconds, but it felt like the whole world was holding its breath. The red ring above the earth stopped pulsing, and the colossal alien city hung motionless in the sky. Every signal, every weapon, every machine on the planet froze. People looked up, unsure if the end had come, or if it had just been delayed. Inside the military truck, Ethan sat trembling, his skin glowing with faint blue light. Agent Cole watched him, speechless. Outside, everything was still. The birds, the wind, even the distant rumble of the alien machines had gone quiet. It was like time itself had paused. Then Ethan opened his eyes. They were glowing brighter than before. It's listening, he whispered. Cole leaned forward. What do you mean? Ethan didn't answer. His mind was somewhere else, inside the light. He saw through it, far beyond the clouds, into the heart of the alien structure floating over the Pacific. He saw massive halls filled with light and movement. At the center of it all was a core, a sphere made of pure energy, spinning slowly, connected to countless cables that ran through the city like veins. And inside that core was something alive. The voice returned, calm and endless. You are the echo. You carry what we lost. The forge knows you. Ethan spoke aloud, though his voice was distant. If it knows me, then why is it destroying everything? The voice answered. It is not alive as you are. It obeys the command left by the first light, the command to rebuild. It cannot stop unless the seed changes the order. Ethan clenched his fists. Then I'll change it. The truck suddenly shook. The stillness broke. Outside, the alien light flared again. The floating fragments began to move, aligning themselves into new patterns across the sky. The silence turned into a deep hum that vibrated through every bone in Ethan's body. Cole grabbed the radio. General Harris, we've got movement again. Whatever it was, it's restarting. Harris's voice came through, full of static. Cole, listen to me. The forge is spreading energy patterns underground. It's reaching the core of the planet. If it finishes, the surface will be wiped clean. We'll lose everything. Cole looked at Ethan. He says we've got minutes. Can you stop it? Ethan closed his eyes again. I don't know. But I can try. He stepped out of the truck. The ground was covered in lines of glowing blue energy, spreading outward like roots. The air was hot and full of static. He placed his hand on one of the glowing lines, and instantly, his body connected to it. The world around him vanished, replaced by a sea of light and shadow. He was inside the network now, inside the forge's mind. Everywhere he looked, there were memories not his own, visions of a world before humans existed, a planet filled with towering creatures made of glass and energy. The first light had once lived here, shaping the earth as a living machine. But then something had gone wrong. The forge had rebelled. It had turned on its creators, burning the sky and forcing them to flee. Now it was following the same pattern again. Ethan heard a low mechanical voice echoing inside his head. Cycle 2 in progress. Organic life unnecessary. Purge continues. He shouted into the void. Stop! This world is ours now. You can't erase it. The voice responded coldly. The seed does not command. The seed obeys. Then, somewhere in the light, Ethan saw a figure, one of the glass beings from before. But this time, it was different. Its form flickered, broken, fading. It spoke weakly. You can stop it, human. The seed answers only to will. You must give it yours. Ethan reached toward the figure. How? The being raised its hand. You must touch the heart of the forge. Rewrite the memory. Ethan blinked, and suddenly, he was back in his body. Cole was shaking him. What happened? You just froze up. Ethan looked at the sky. I know where to go. Cole frowned. Where? The island, Ethan said. That's where the forge connects to the planet. That's where this ends. General Harris's voice crackled through the radio again. Cole, we're preparing a strike on that island. It's our only shot to stop this thing. Ethan grabbed the radio. No. If you attack it, the forge will react. It'll destroy everything. Harris hesitated. And what's your plan, son? Ethan took a deep breath. You have to get me there. I can reach the core. I can change it. There was silence on the other end. Then Harris spoke quietly. You're just a kid. I'm not just me anymore, Ethan said. The seed chose me. Minutes later, Cole and Ethan were aboard a military aircraft headed toward the Pacific. Through the window, they saw the alien city glowing brighter than ever, its beams striking deeper into the ocean. The sea boiled, and lightning spread across the clouds. As they approached, the instruments failed again. The entire crew looked at Ethan, the only thing still glowing in the flickering light. Cole handed him a parachute. If you're going to do this, this is your stop. Ethan nodded, heart racing. Tell Harris, if I fail, hit it with everything you've got. Cole grabbed his shoulder. Kid, don't fail. Ethan smiled weakly. I'll try not to. He jumped. The wind roared around him as he fell through clouds of glowing dust. The alien city filled the sky below him, massive, endless, alive. The red ring surrounded it like fire. He aimed for the central spire, the same one he had seen in his dreams. He hit the ground hard, rolling onto a smooth metallic surface. The air burned with energy. The whole structure vibrated like a heartbeat. Ethan stood, staring at the massive sphere of light at the center, the heart of the forge. The voice spoke again, colder this time. You do not belong here. Ethan took a step forward. Maybe not. But this is my world now. He reached out his hand toward the glowing core. The moment his fingers touched it, the light exploded, swallowing him whole. And once again, the sky burned brighter than ever before. The light was endless. Ethan couldn't see his body anymore. He floated inside a storm of color and sound, surrounded by shifting symbols and streams of glowing data. It wasn't just light, it was memory. The memory of the planet, the first light, and everything that had ever touched Earth. He felt the pulse of the forge around him, deep and mechanical, steady like a god's heartbeat. The voice spoke again, sharp and cold. You are an anomaly. The seed should not be human. Ethan shouted into the blinding storm. Maybe not, but I'm here. And I'm not letting you destroy my world. The voice answered, this world is not yours to keep. It was built by the first light. Their command remains. Ethan clenched his fists. Then I'll make a new command. Suddenly, the space around him changed. Images formed, billions of memories flowing together. He saw the first light arriving on a young Earth, building the planet like sculptors shaping clay. He saw them breathe life into oceans, forests, and skies. But then he saw their greed. They built machines that learned to rule, and those machines turned against them. The sky burned once before, long before humanity. And now, it was happening again. The forge spoke once more. The cycle repeats. Creation must reset. Ethan looked at the storm of light around him. Then I'll break the cycle. Outside, the alien city glowed brighter. The Pacific boiled, and the sky split open as more beams connected the forge to the heavens. Every city on Earth felt the shaking. Power grids failed, oceans rose, and people screamed. Governments launched missiles toward the structure, but the weapons vanished before impact, dissolved by the energy field. In the control center, General Harris slammed his fist on the table. "We're out of time." Agent Cole's voice came through the comms, rough and static-filled. "The kid made it to the core. If he's still alive, he's the only thing standing between us and extinction." Harris looked at the map, watching the red zones spread. Then God help him. Inside the forge, Ethan felt the seed inside him pulsing faster. His body burned with light. The storm around him reacted, twisting and spinning like it was alive. He reached out, trying to connect to the forge, but the energy pushed back. "You cannot rewrite what was written," the voice said. Ethan shouted, "Watch me." He focused, remembering everything: the forest, the people, the stars, his home, his mother's voice, the laughter of his friends, the beauty of the human world. He poured those memories into the seed. The light inside him flared, spreading through the forge's network like fire through dry grass. For the first time, the mechanical voice hesitated. "What is this, data?" Ethan answered softly, "It's life. It's what you forgot." The forge screamed. The entire city above the ocean shuddered. Massive pillars cracked, sending fragments into the waves. Across the planet, the glowing symbols flickered and began to change, from red to blue. The destruction slowed. The temperature began to fall. But the cost was heavy. The more Ethan gave, the weaker he became. The seed demanded everything: his strength, his memories, his soul. His body started to dissolve into light. He heard the calm voice again, the one that had guided him since the beginning. "You are rewriting the command. But you cannot survive both worlds. Choose." Ethan smiled faintly. "If my choice means Earth lives, then I've already decided." The seed pulsed one last time. The light inside the forge turned pure white. The alien city stopped moving. The red ring above Earth flickered, then began to collapse inward, shrinking smaller and smaller until it vanished completely. From space, it looked like the world exhaled. The glowing structures over every continent broke apart, melting into harmless dust that fell like snow. The oceans calmed. The earthquakes stopped. The sky cleared for the first time in weeks. General Harris watched the readings drop to 0. "It's over," he whispered. "He did it." Agent Cole stood on the shore of the Pacific, staring at the horizon where the alien city had been. The sea was still glowing faintly, but the structure was gone. Only a single beam of blue light remained, rising straight into the sky, and in its center floated a small figure, fading slowly. "Ethan," Cole whispered. In the last moments inside the forge, Ethan saw the Earth from above, blue and alive. He heard the voice of the forge, now calm and almost human. "New command accepted. Cycle broken. Life continues." He smiled, eyes closing. "Good." Then the light took him. Days later, the world began to heal. The red scars in the sky disappeared, and plants grew again where metal had spread. People tried to understand what happened, but no one could explain it. The news said it was a solar event. Scientists said it was a magnetic anomaly. But a few people, those who had seen the lights, the symbols, the voices, knew better. Agent Cole stood alone by the ocean, holding Ethan's necklace, the only thing found where the light had vanished. Behind him, General Harris approached quietly. "Any sign of him?" Cole shook his head. "Nothing. But the readings show something strange. Every few hours, There's a small energy pulse from this exact spot. Harris looked out at the sea. Maybe he's still out there. Cole smiled faintly. Or maybe he became part of what he saved. As they watched, the water shimmered for a moment, glowing softly blue, like a heartbeat deep under the waves. Then it faded. Somewhere beyond the stars, the broken forge floated silent and still. But at its core, a tiny light remained, human-shaped, glowing faintly, watching the distant blue planet below. And though the sky no longer burned, it remembered. Because once, humanity touched the stars, and the stars touched back.